Welcome to the Shine Your Light, Reach Your Best podcast. I'm your host, Claire Thomas. I'm on a mission to support women who feel stuck, unfulfilled and disempowered, have a successful, fulfilled, soul-led life. I guide women to reawaken their unique power so they can shine their light and reach their best. This podcast is designed to support and enrich the Shine Your Light, Reach Your Best self-development coaching cards. Thank you for joining me. Now sit back, relax, and let's work out how to shine all our lights brightly. Hi, and welcome to episode 13 of the Shine Your Light podcast. I can't believe we're already at 13, which is very exciting. So thank you for joining me. Today, the topic that I'm going to discuss is the power of journaling, and I have some very exciting news to share with you too. So I will let you hold you in suspense on that one for a little bit longer. So I'm going to start by just sharing the journaling card from the Shine Your Light self-development coaching cards. It's this one here. It's number 10. So if you were to do it in order, the cards in order, this would come up about week 10. I love the image on there. That's exactly the sort of image I like. You kind of like looking at it and say, what is that really? But there's loads of colors and textures and shapes there, and it just really you get to see how beautiful nature is with that sort of image. So love that one. I think it's actually bark or leaves. So on the front it says, write from your heart, suspending thought and judgment. And I think that's the key here with journaling. And it took me a very long time to get into journaling because I had to let go of my perfectionism to do so. I had this sort of belief that I would ruin my favourite journal if I were to write a load of nonsense in it, and that my handwriting wasn't tidy enough, and what was I going to say? And it really takes quite a lot of letting go to be open to just journaling. But the benefits of journaling are absolutely fascinating. I'll just read a bit off the back of the cards. Whether it's a more traditional Dear Diary or a random collection of thoughts, feelings, and emotions, journaling can help us capture and process events in our lives. Researchers believe that writing about these events can have physical and psychological benefits. The key is to suspend self-judgment and write straight from the heart. And I think, what I've noticed, I think I've been journaling for maybe 3-4 years now. Must be over 4 actually, because it was way before COVID that I started doing it. And I started really small. I picked a notebook that I loved. I think that is a real key to journaling, is have something that you love writing in that and inspires you to want to pick it up and touch it and write in it. Have a really nice pen that you want to write with that feels smooth and it feels a treat to pick it up, so you can really connect with those sensations rather than with your head when you start journaling. And then spend maybe a couple of moments connecting with your breath, getting yourself into that sort of sage mindset where you're led by your heart, not by your head, and then just start writing. And there are no rules over what you write when you're journaling. You get to choose exactly what you write. Ideally, if that's how you want it to be, nobody's going to see what you write anyway. So, hopefully it's a safe place where you can capture your thoughts and reflections. And what I started off by doing was just a couple of lines. I would track maybe how well I had slept. I would track if I'd walked the dog, if I'd done any exercise, how I was feeling. And sometimes that was just a couple of words. Sometimes it was a couple of sentences. And over time, I've built up a little bit what I write. I now have 2 journals, actually, one beside my bed and one in the corner where I meditate, so that I have one there just to journal after my meditation in the mornings. I find that quite useful. And I think that the key here is to see if you can build up a habit with the journaling, because it's a really great release to be able to put your thoughts and reflections onto into a piece of paper. It's really a way of letting them go, so that they're not it's like filing them out of your mind, so you can then go to bed and sleep with without those thoughts there, because you've captured them. And so as I mentioned, I like to journal at bedtime and capture the things that have been going on during my day. And I found it really useful when I started, to put my journal on my pillow. So I would have to physically pick it up and put it on my bedside table or on the floor to get into bed. And that simple process of putting it on the pillow is therefore a reminder to journal. And if you give yourself permission to hardly write anything, it really doesn't take very long to do. So that's what I did to start off with. Now my journaling is part of my everyday habits and routines. But that's sticking the process of picking it up and moving it from your pillow to your bedside table. You might as well write down a couple of words while you're at it. So I think finding that way of building a habit is really, really important. I'd love to hear any suggestions of other ways that you might build up habits like that to keep up journaling. Interestingly, I do look back through my journals sometimes to see what was going on this time last year, or how I felt last month, etc. And over the last year, or maybe 18 months, I've been tracking different cycles along with my journaling, and I found that really fascinating. But before I go into that in more detail, I'm going to share with you some really exciting news. I am absolutely delighted to share with you the Shine Your Light journal. And depending on how well you've been following me, you'll know that I love beautiful things that feel really tactile and look beautiful. I used to be an interior designer, so that maybe explains some of it. And I have a very creative side to me. So I designed this journal because I thought it would be a really good addition to the cards, the Shine Your Light cards, but it can also be used separately from them. So it's nice and small, it's fairly chunky. So it is possible to keep it in your bag or by your bed without it taking up too much space, which for me is really, really key. I wouldn't want anything bigger than that next to my bed. There isn't space to start off with. The journal is covered in a beautiful linen. I don't know if you can see that. And all of the writing on it is gold foiled and absolutely beautiful. There's an elastic here to keep it nice and shut, and a ribbon bookmark here so you can keep your place in it. And look at that beautiful gold around the edge. I mean, this just, to me, this says I care about myself and I'm investing in myself through my journal. So this is something that I want to pick up and I want to write in. So when you open it up, the first few pages just give you some introduction to the way that the journal is set up. And I've started writing in this one. But let me show you an empty page. So there's lots of things that I'm tracking here. So at the top, we have a circle where you can colour in the current moon phase. I'll go through why all of these are here in a minute. There's a space for today's date. And if you're following with the cards, you can capture which card you're working on. And then there's a little table here that you can fill in. So you can score yourself on a daily basis out of 5 on how well you feel that you've been at being, doing, sleeping, eating and your menstrual cycle if you're a woman or you have a cycle, and you can capture here the day that you're in of your cycle. And then next to it, there's enough space to write just some little observations. So it could be that you write, had a disturbed night's sleep, woke up lots of times, went to bed too late, that sort of thing in there. Or if you're tracking your menstrual cycle, you could just be noting any different symptoms that you have. And the reason for me for putting all of these things here is that this provides us with information. It provides us with a way to collate information, and information gives us power and knowledge, power over the decisions and choices that we make. So for me, it's fascinating to I'm assuming that I'm in my perimenopause as an example, and my menstrual symptoms are varying from month to month. And I went to a talk on menstruation and the menopause a few years back, and the one piece of advice that the lady gave was the importance of tracking your symptoms. Because if you go to the doctor and you say, I believe I'm having symptoms, and you don't have any data to back it up, then there's not much they can do. But if you've been tracking in something like this, your symptoms, and you know how they're changing over time, that gives you a whole load of information that can help you make the decisions you want to in your life. The reason for putting the moon cycle in their phase there is I've always felt that I'm impacted by the moon phases, but I wasn't really sure how, or if that was in my imagination. So that is something that I've been tracking for the last 18 months. And I can now look back on data and see how that those moon phases do impact how I might be, how I feel about being, doing, my sleep, my energy, etc. And what I've noticed is that there are patterns in those phases and how they impact me, but that just having that curiosity is information and knowledge in itself. And it just helps me give myself a little bit more compassion and kindness, so that on days when things feel harder, it's easier. I hope that makes sense. I've put in there also tracking your sleep and your food. Obviously, some people might not want to track their food, and that's completely fine. I know that some people do have disordered eating, and it's important to respect that. This is not meant to be something that causes people more anxiety or stress, not at all. But it might be that there's a correlation between your snacking and your menstrual cycle. And just being able to just notice those things again gives you power. It means that you could maybe choose to, at certain times of the month, not have particular snacks in the house because you know that you're going to be heading towards the snacks cupboard more. So you get to choose what information you put in here and what detail you go into. I really want everybody to make it their own. So after that, there's some space for reflections. So there's enough pages in here to have a year's worth of journal reflections, which is the length of time it takes to do the Shine Your Light cards as well. And that was really important to me. That's why it is so thick. So there's 400 pages in here. But if you're doing any of the cards which have reflections on, then there's that space to write down what your reflections are. And if you're not doing the cards, then you can write down your reflections of the day in general. And then finally, at the bottom, there's space to write 3 things. So I'm not very good with holding this and getting to the camera. There's space to write 3 things that you're grateful for. And there's another card in the deck about showing gratitude. And showing gratitude for just 3 things before you go to sleep is a fabulous way just to again, reset your mind in the positive so that you go to sleep knowing that there are things that you're grateful for. The day might have been hard, life might feel hard, but you can be grateful for anything and everything you have around you. And on some days, the things I write down in here that I'm grateful for are my husband, my daughters, and my dog. It can be that simple. Other days, I'll write down that I'm grateful for the sunshine or the tulips or for having been able to go exercising. It could be anything that you're grateful for. The point is just to show some form of gratitude, because it does put your head in a different space, in a space of positivity. If you go to sleep in a space of positivity, you're more likely to sleep well. You're going to wake up and feel good and start the next day in that positive frame of mind as well. So I think that's enough of me rambling about my beautiful, beautiful journal. I hope that you love it as much as I do. I still need to get it onto the website. And I have just an advance shipment of these at the moment. So if you want to get one quickly because you're super excited like I am, then please send me a DM or an email and I can get one sent out to you. But otherwise, I'm just in the process of getting it set up on the website, and hopefully they'll be available to buy soon. So I'm super excited. I hope that you're going to enjoy them as much as me. I think they'll make incredible gifts. They are retailing at $22.99. And if you buy them with a deck of cards, the two together will be $39.99, which is an incredibly low investment for the journey and the difference in your life that both of these things can make you. So I hope you've enjoyed listening to me ramble away today. I hope you have. I hope you can feel how excited I am about the journal, and I look forward to hearing your comments and reflections on them. And have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Shine Your Light, Reach Your Best podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, so please follow the show. I'd love you to like, comment and share this episode with anyone else whose light needs some help shining. I'd love to hear from you, and I'm open to having guests on my podcast. So if you would like to share your story, please send me an email to claire@reachingmybest.com or click on the link in the show notes. So for now, keep shining and reaching for your best.